awful taste. Awful taste.
Great execution, guys.
Hello, my darlings, and welcome to Reddit Rex, where I read books based on subreddit themes. Today's subreddit is ATGBE, and it stands for awful taste, but great execution. Books that would fit the theme of this subreddit are ones that are campy, chaotic, over the top, deeply weird and uncomfy, but they commit so hard that they kind of nail it. They're wild in concept, but immaculate in craft. They're definitely not for the faint of heart. But if you love weird brilliance, then you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to tell you about books that will make you feel unwell in very specific ways. Hey, Bluebell. Hi, honey. These are two totally unhinged books that prove you don't need to have good taste to be iconic. I have to give you a heads up that with today's books, incest and snuff films are on the menu, so you have been warned. The first book that I'm going to be talking about is The Slutts by Dennis Cooper, Catfish, Kinks, and a Body Count. This book is told entirely through sex worker, review boards, emails, and anonymous posts. It follows the digital mythology of a hustler named Brad, young, blonde, submissive, and possibly fictional. Everyone wants a piece of him, or to hurt him, or to save him, definitely to bang him, maybe all the above. Things spiral very quickly into hyper-explicit reviews, like Brad's hole is a 10 out of 10, would destroy again. Think that one story in Rejection by Tony Tulatimuti, that scene where the guy is detailing his fantasy, that, but a million times worse in the entire book. There are a lot of identity crises. Is Brad real? Are you real? Am I real? Internet sleuths gone absolutely feral, a possible murder or 5, and the literary equivalent of setting yourself on fire and calling it love. Reality gets very slippery. Everyone is lying. Someone might be dead, but who? And was it hot? This is a psychosexual mindfuck about desire, violence, fantasy, and the internet. Think American Psycho meets Grindr, but a lot sadder and a lot hornier. The main themes in this are identity and performance, everyone pretending to be someone else, desire, violence and obsession, control and submission, and the commodification of self. Brad is a brand, a sex object, a blank canvas for strangers' fantasies. His pain, his pleasure, even his corpse, it's all content, baby. And this book critiques the way digital spaces turn people into consumable fetishes. Now, what is its ATGBE appeal? How was it awful taste, but great execution? It is a dark, dizzying exploration of online sex work, desire, and identity. So it is very hyper-modern Gothic. There's an update of Gothic tropes in this. So you've got the decay, haunted identities, obsession, and taboo love, but set loose in a digital space. Brad pretty much becomes a ghost story passed around like chainmail. The internet itself is the haunted mansion, and it perfectly replicates the fragmented, obsessive, anonymous chaos of early internet spaces, especially queer sex forums. You don't just read the story, you fall into the rabbit hole of unreliable narrators, bad grammar, and spiraling threads. It is explicit, disturbing, and confusing. I would say it is a masterclass in unreliable narration. Nobody is telling the truth in this, folks. Not the Johns, not the trolls, not the author of the forum posts. This book is also incredibly disturbing, but it's well done. It is both grotesque and yet somehow beautiful. It's extreme, graphic sex and violence. Every brutal detail serves to explore power, consent, commodification, and the desperation to be wanted and destroyed. It's intentionally uncomfortable because it's about very uncomfortable things. Overall, The Slutts is constructed chaos. It's sleazy, slippery, terrifying, and tragic. It is a book about people consuming each other, and you will feel complicit just by reading it. That's the execution. You're not just a reader, you are a voyeur. My personal experience of the book. Man, guys, this is depraved and it's sick. I did not enjoy a single thing about it. I can appreciate its skill in executing what it set out to execute, but for me, it just felt so repetitive and heavy-handed. By the halfway point, I honestly no longer cared who was telling the truth or what actually happened or what was actually going on. I just wanted the violent depictions to end. I wanted to get off the sadist merry-go-round. Like, I get what it was doing, but I didn't enjoy a second of it. It was very confusing and it got old real quick. I wanted it to wrap up. I do think he could have cut it down, trimmed it down, and still had the same effect. But yeah, this was definitely not my taste in literature, but it's one of those books that is iconic for its subject matter. It does that well. The next book I picked up is Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews. I listened to the audiobook of this, which was narrated by Mina Savari, and I think she did a really great job. God sees everything. This is a gothic horror masquerading as a soap opera family drama. Meet the Dollangunga kids, beautiful blonde and about to be traumatized for life. After their perfect dad dies in a car crash, their clueless and negligent mum takes them to grandma's mansion to try to win back her mega rich dad's inheritance, because plot twist, grandpa doesn't know that the children exist because, surprise, mummy married her step-uncle, guys. And grandma's solution to keeping grandpa in the dark? Lock the kids in the attic until grandpa croaks. Problem solved, right? What follows is an attic that contains mice, books, and a ton of emotional damage, a grandmother who thinks everything is a sin, a brother and sister who get a little too Game of Thrones, and a lot of poisoned pastries. Don't trust the donuts, guys. The main themes in this are forbidden love, incest, loss of innocence, isolation, family abuse, and religious trauma. What is the ATBGE appeal to this book? Well, it is gothic maximalism done right. Andrews leans hard into the gothic. It's grand houses, cruel matriarchs, forbidden love, and creepy attics. The purple prose descriptions and the fever dream pacing somehow make the bonkers plot feel plausible in its own nightmare logic. You have a grandmother who's a legit villain, a mother who's somehow even worse, and teen romance that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. This book has characters you just can't look away from, so everyone is larger than life. Mother is soft focus evil in pearls. Grandmother is fire and brimstone tyrant. I have legitimately never wanted to double homicide two bitches before. I wanted to reach through the books of the pages and shank both the mother and the grandmother. And then you've got the kids, the beautiful cherubs that turn into broken ghosts because of what is done to them. Kathy, who is the narrator, is especially compelling. She blends fragility and fury, victimhood and vengeance. Her descent into trauma and hopefully eventually revenge is almost mythic. This book is also melodrama with a moral punch. Yes, it's campy. Yes, there's incest. But the situation these children are in creates the perfect storm for incest to occur in. It's understandable, as messed up as it is to say. And beneath the outrageousness is a story about betrayal, generational trauma, and the suffocating weight of keeping up appearances. Because the horror isn't just the attic. It's what people are willing to do for money, love, or legacy. There is a sharp critique under all of the scandal and sorrow. It's also quite inescapable and addictive. You just keep turning the pages out of morbid curiosity and you end up emotionally compromised. Flowers in the Attic is executed well because it commits completely to the style, to the tone, to the scandal, to the tragedy. It's operatic, claustrophobic, and unforgettable. It's like an antique dollhouse full of secrets. It's beautiful, disturbing, and impossible to stop staring at. What did I think of this book? Oh boy. Like I said, I found it compelling. My heart was bleeding for these children. I felt so many emotions, like I said, mostly rage and violence towards the perpetrators of the abuse towards these kids. I felt despair, I felt sadness, I was constantly just screaming at the kids, just get out. Stop trusting your mother, she is lying to you. And it's so hard because I've been there too. It hit close to home to me and my childhood. Not obviously to that extent, I wasn't poisoned with arsenic, donuts and the like, but it's this thing that's hard to reconcile as an adult. The push and pull between both hating your mother and loving them, being hurt by them and yet still wanting their attention. It's painful and it's awful, and it does mess you up so badly. But yeah, I just kept praying that they would find a way out. Obviously I was not championing the romance, I get it. They were so deprived of love and affection, and they were only with each other, and they were going through puberty, so it makes sense. But it's still awful because Kathy knows if this hadn't happened to us, this wouldn't have happened. But yet here we are, because this is a situation we were in. Oh, it is so full on. It was stressful. It was a stressful read. Look, I will say that it's good. But do I want to read any more of this? No, I don't. It is too dramatic and full on for me. And it involves children, which is one of my biggest triggers, harm to kids. It's just, it's not great. There's also animal harm in this too. So yeah, but is it well done? Is this, oh my God, I have to say too, after reading it, I've realized that this is a YA book. And from the Goodreads reviews, it seems that the majority of people who read this book picked it up as a child, not even an older teen, a young child. That's wild. Who was recommending this book to middle graders or younger? Seriously, this is heavy. It's messed up. And I think it would be confusing for a lot of young brains to wrap their head around. I wonder how much they actually picked up and how much they subconsciously just blotted out and breezed past. But yeah, I'm kind of glad to have read it too. I've heard about it. It's one of those books that's kind of iconic, and yet I never watched the movie adaptations or read the book, and thank God I didn't read it as a child. But yeah, it's traumatizing. So now we've come to the end of the blog and understand that taste is subjective, but execution, these authors understood the assignment. If you have read a book that is so wrong that it's right, drop it in the comments below. Today's perfume is by Heretic Perfume, and it's called Voodoo Lily. The notes in this are frankincense, cedar, coriander, black pepper, geranium, juniper, lily, black currant, Moroccan rose, oud, patchouli, sandalwood, and styrax. This perfume is sacred and profane, ritual and rot. It smells like a secret society's altar, or a garden grown from forbidden seeds. There is something carnal yet cloistered, as if the perfume exists at the threshold between spirit and skin. It's a witch priestess wearing a mourning veil in a moss-covered greenhouse that is hidden in a graveyard. I think this is a unisex scent. It definitely leans more towards a wintry scent for me. The book that I would pair with this perfume is Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. It is a decaying fairy tale soaked in blood, folklore, and monstrous femininity. It is inspired by grim tales and Eastern European horror. It feels like a femme fatale wearing voodoo lily in a haunted opera house. So for today's activities, I am going to go to Easy's. Now, Easy's is a dilapidated, beat-up, old-school Melbourne tram that has been placed on top of a multi-story complex, literally at the top. Think rusting and tattered with street art. It's very quirky and vintage cool. It's almost got this vibe of King Kong, like just picking up a tram and plonking it on top of a building. It's supposed to mimic an American diner, and supposedly the food, which is American diner inspired, is fantastic. So we'll see what it's like. And there's also a kitsch art gallery that's nearby, so I'd love to go to that as well. And then there's a cheesecake shop also close by where you buy a cheesecake by the gram. So that's today's adventures. It's goodbye from me, and until next time, stay well executed, baby.
Unless it was something that I was like, oh, this is
The gallery is not open on a Monday. Cheesecake store is also not open on a Monday. Good job, Chanel. Good job, Chanel. We're just going to do other stuff. We're going to go rogue. Okay, so I've decided to go and try out a hot chocolate. It's hilarious. Absolutely none of the activities today were well executed. The trams on top of the building at Easy's weren't open today, so you just had to sit in the diner, which was, yeah, look, it's not my style. And then the other two places I wanted to go were closed, so is what it is. Let's go get a hot chocolate. Okay guys, the hot chocolate place I wanted to go to is also closed. Look, Chanel, don't go out on a Monday. Nothing's open. Instead, we're going to go to this patisserie that's next to the new library because I've got to pick up books, and supposedly it's very cute and kawaii and there's lots of like toys and things, so that's where we're going.